So this is still Heroes of Might and Magic 5, and I'm back to continue the campaign with Mission 5 from Campaign 1. So yeah, let's begin. On to the final mission of this campaign. For the next mission I had to choose between 4 Royal Griffins, an artifact for luck, and 1500 gold, where I chose the Griffins for extra units. The mission opens with a cutscene where we see Godric and Freyda, Godric's daughter. They found a flag that would signal that Isabel should be nearby. Also, Godric reveals that the mages did not agree to help, for some reason, apparently, due to some past events. They then find out that Isabel is not there and that some demons ambush them, after which Godric swears revenge. So, after the cutscene, I started off with Godric, who had 62 marksmen, 39 squires, 24 royal griffins, and 10 paladins. A very good start. As well as on level 1, he already had a few things learned, and his specialty is associated with the skill Benediction, which becomes better based on his level, somehow. And the 2 main objectives of this mission currently are to capture a town in 1 week's time, as well as to free Isabel from a prison near some town. In order to save time, I only went for some things along the way without deviating from the path too much. I checked on the artifact merchant, fought horned demons, and went for a Haven military post. After the military outpost fight, followed a level up. Since I was next to the town, I had a few days of extra time to spare. I captured the ore pit that was nearby. After which I went for the town. The fight was very simple and straightforward. And I even leveled up. Oh, and remember that Isabel was kept at a prison somewhere, right? Yeah, that prison is right next to this town. Nice. And the prison was just guarded by a pack of pit lords. And after the pit lords, Godric leveled up again. So after visiting the prison, a cutscene appeared, where Isabel is thankful for the rescue, and they are both debating their next actions. They mentioned that they want to take revenge for Beatrice, as well as that they are disappointed in the mage Cyrus for his lack of will to help. After which, scouts report that a demon army is approaching and will arrive in a few days' time. Godric tries to convince Isabel to fortify the town and wait safely, while Isabel wishes to fight. As freeing Isabel completed an objective, Godric earned himself a level. And the next objective that appeared is to defend the town from enemy attacks. The situation regarding resources was not good to say the least, so I immediately decided to go for the spectral dragons guarding a lot of chests and the gold mine. The fight was not anything too complicated, as I just used a couple of 1-stacks to block out the dragons for as long as possible to minimize the losses of any important units. And after the fight, Godric leveled up yet again. After seeing the approaching hero, I saw that he had devils, pit fiends, and imps in his army. I also decided to use Isabel as the defender since she was a higher level, and so I sent Godric to hide near the gold mine. I wanted to get extra archer towers for better defending capabilities while my town is being sieged. But sadly couldn't manage to build up to that since I did not have enough turns. So instead of that, I settled with upgrading my archers. And after my turn, the enemy hero attacked. At least I had the 1 tower shooting and dealing extra damage. though it got destroyed soon enough. After the Devil Stack stepped into the spikes and took some damage, I shot at him with my marksman, taking out one devil, as it was the only thing that I could kill with my marksman. As well as the pits did not have enough mana for another fireball cast, so it was kind of pointless targeting them. I hit the Archdevils with my griffins, taking out half of that stack, after which I casted Endurance on them as they were quite squishy. And the rest of the fight was quite simple. Though I managed to lose a fair amount of units. After the battle, another cutscene appears where Godric congratulates Isabel, and Agriel, the hero who attacked, somehow escaped. They then come to a conclusion that fortifying the town is the best option currently. Since I discovered the ability to train my units for free as Isabel in the previous mission, I wanted to get both training buildings as soon as possible. So I gave some units to Godric for advancing forward while Isabel was left in the town, as I was expecting more attacks. After which I cleared out some marksmen that guarded the sawmill. Sadly, I was low both on wood and sulfur, which prevented me from building some other buildings in my town. I then found a sulfur mine, however the mages would deal too much damage to me, which I wasn't prepared to accept. At this point I built the castle for better fortifications in case of a siege. I cleared out some minotaurs and visited a redwood observatory. Then I went to fight some horned overseers next to another sawmill, after which I leveled up. While I didn't have any other higher level units available to me in my town, I trained my peasants into archers. On the next turn, I saw that another enemy hero had appeared from a portal. He had a pretty sizable army when compared to mine, so I decided to run away to avoid confrontation as Godric, though it looked like he was not really interested in him. And after that, he reached my town and another siege began. Yeah. Oh, and he took out the front gates right away. How nice. Since I didn't have an ammo cart, I wanted to wait for a better opportunity to shoot, especially after he casted a spell that made me deal minimum damage. The AI was stupid enough to run into the spikes, which gave me hope that I could actually beat them here. Though later I realized that this wasn't the case. So after that I loaded to a previous point in the game, where I did not go after the horned overseers, but instead went back to give over the units to Isabel and visit the military outpost for some more monks. After which I put Godric inside of the sanctuary, so that he could not be attacked. So the siege began. Again. However, I was more prepared for the fight as I had more units. And of course he took out the front gate again. The enemies were still running into the spikes while I committed on focusing the Cerberi, as they were the fastest unit they had, apart from the flaming horses. After that, I shifted my focus to the horses. while also taking out the imps with my marksmen since they got close enough. And shortly after, he surrendered. After which, yet another cutscene appeared. Godric is worried that they might not survive the next siege. Isabel is clueless of what to do, after which Godric tells her about the Tear of Asha, a relic that would greatly help them. It can be found with the help of some obelisks, however, Isabel is still not convinced about this. After which Godric says that they basically have no choice and that he shall also seek help from Nikolai, and Isabel agrees. So after that, another objective appears, to set up the Tear of Asha in the Haven town. As I previously saw, there was an unguarded obelisk that I went for as Godric, while I went for another one guarded by skeleton archers with Isabel. Since each obelisk takes off apart from the whole puzzle, revealing the real location, and both the visited obelisks revealed a decent amount, I just decided to not bother with the third one and just try to guess. After which, yet another hero appeared out of nowhere running towards my town. Of course, I wasn't going to let that slide, so I attacked him, where he just did a few moves and ran away. Nice. After which I went for some small fights for extra experience with Isabel. And then some cavaliers that I hoped would join, but they didn't. Since the X is somewhere in the middle of the puzzle, I approximately found the area and began checking. And after a few attempts, I found it. While I was on the way to my town, another hero appeared, but I managed to make it in time. After which, I set up the Tear of Asha in my town. That put a huge golden statue, which basically increased the amount of units that I can get each week, as well as the amount of gold I gained, and increased the luck of my heroes. Very nice. And after that, a cutscene appeared. Again, though this time nothing important was said. But Godric received another level due to the completed quest. Even though I had the Tear of Asha, this did not fix the issue that I was very low on resources. So I went to capture the gem mine for starters. However, another enemy hero came, so I reloaded, since Isabel could not reach the town in time. So I prepared for another fight, and he instantly gave up and ran. And another cutscene. So they came to a conclusion, to meet up with Nikolai while defending the town in the meantime. After which, another quest appeared, to go through the garrison made visible on the map as Godric, in order to meet up with Nikolai. At this point I also got very tired of not being able to afford a second building for unit training, which made me remain with my 7 per week units instead of 20, and judging by the fact that I would not be able to fight the mages anytime soon, I just traded some gold for the sulfur I was missing. After which I began training monks, since I did not have cavaliers at that time. And after that, another hero appeared. Again. So then I just decided to wait until a new week for even more reinforcements. And there was another hero that signaled me to think that there is a town in that direction. This time I wanted to try and approach the enemy hero in order to attack him, since at least now I had a decent advantage over him due to my army being quite big, so the fight wouldn't be anything special. And indeed it was, as I basically took out each enemy creature stack with one of mine. The second hero had even less units, but that did not stop his courageous will of fighting me. After that, I gave Godric my marksmen, conscripts and cavaliers in order to go and clear out the map, while leaving the rest of the units for Isabel for defending the town. And speaking of which, yet another hero had appeared from a portal. I went to capture the gem mine first, which was a pretty simple fight, after which Godric gained a level. And right after that, the enemy hero attacked my town. My monks were my main power stack in this fight, so I depended on them to win. I used them to one-shot their succubus stack, and right after that, their devil stack, after which they just surrendered. And it looks like their assault just does not stop, eh? Next up, Godric went after a sawmill. After which, I was able to build a jousting arena that allowed me to buy and train cavaliers. Finally. And on the next turn, I also decided to upgrade my monks so that they could cast useful spells for buffing my units. And their hero did not go straight for my town. Huh? After which, I was scared that he would go after Godric, so I went hiding with him underground, where I took a few fights along the way. I decided to chase after him with Isabel, however, I also wanted to make sure that they could not just rush into my town while it was unguarded. And another hero appeared who immediately just tried to do what I said. However, he could not reach it, so I attacked him with Isabel. So after preparing for a fight and planning how to do it without losses, he immediately fled. After which I wanted to go after another pest who was running around near my town. And he randomly decided to go right by Isabel towards another direction. Okay then. And after attacking him, he made a few moves and just fled. Nice. At this point, I also built the Angel building in my town. In the meantime, Godric was continuing his crusade underground, where I had a fight against Hydras that could not even get to me as I blocked them off with my one-stacks, also abusing the battlefield obstacles. After which followed another level up. Then he fought some Hellhounds and got another level. As I was feeling pretty confident at this point about my capability of defending, I also used Isabel to clear some fights above ground. There were vampires and elven archers. Though even at this point, without suffering any major losses, I could not easily kill off the mages and archmages, since they usually got to move before my units. So instead I went to check out what kind of artifacts were being sold at the merchant. The merchant had a gold producing artifact, a dwarven shield and a dragon cape, which I bought. Though later I realized that I already had a cape. Also, around this time, I got paladins. After that, I also bought another hero just in case. In the meantime, Godric fought against some dark raiders and found another exit from the underground area, while Isabel had reached the town and had amassed 40 paladins. And at the same time, yet another hero had appeared from the portal, as well as there was another one coming from the supposed location of their town. The first hero surrendered immediately. The underground entrance was guarded by cavaliers and paladins, which all in all was not a difficult fight. And after the fight, I even got another level. However, the exit was almost right next to one of their heroes. And of course he saw me and was coming after me. So because I was not confident about taking the fight, I loaded to a previous save and waited just before the entrance fight. After which one of their heroes attacked my town and fled as soon as he got a chance to do so. This is also the point where all of the fights with Isabel against their heroes will be just them fleeing and running away, so I will probably not show them, as it is just the same thing over and over again. Then there was yet another hero who was just running back and forth for some reason. So I just kept waiting in my town, as with the Grail available to me, I am able to outgrow any enemy army, as well as they basically never stay and fight me. So at this point my goal was to gain some more units that I could give over to Godric so that he would not be afraid of anything. as well as to wait for a moment where no hero would endanger my town while I would leave it without any units. After waiting for a while, I went out with Isabel and fought another hero that was approaching, as well as the one that was lost and kept running around. And this time I cleared the Cavalier fight with her and gave over most of my units to Godric, so that he could full clear the rest of the map from here on out. After which I sent Isabel back to the town while Godric resumed his crusade. He gained a level from some treasure chests, after which he attacked some Inquisitors, and then some Familiars, after which followed another level up. After that, I wanted to investigate where the enemies are coming from and if I could stop them permanently. There I encountered a hero that immediately fled. Then there was another one who I managed to kill as he had only one stack of units. A little bit further down the road was a gold mine, and then a very heavily guarded garrison. Meanwhile, Isabel got attacked. And back to Godric. I was very curious as to what was in the garrison. Oh. Okay. Anyway, I went a little bit back towards another path. There I found a few mines and saw an infernal town from where the enemies were coming from. Though this did not explain their appearance from the portals, which meant that this could just have been scripted into the scenario. Even though the mines were next to the town, the path to it was blocked by an invisible wall, and the only way to it was through the garrison. And after that, I was attacked yet again, by a hero that fled instantly. At this point, I will just skip showing these attacks since they begin and end in the same way. Then I went after a few enemy heroes that wandered out of their town. I was surprised that they even decided to stand their ground. Never mind. Or... okay. And after the last fight, I gained another level. Then I came across an infernal military outpost, as well as another underground entrance. So after that, I went underground. There I fought some shadow dragons, got another level from a chest, wiped out some pixies, and cleared the crypt. At this point, I saw that the underground paths linked to the places where I was earlier, so I could just go for a full underground clear. I found hellhounds, elven archers, even more hellhounds, shadow matriarchs, after which I leveled up, hydras, minotaurs guarding a gem mine, and another level up, and the witch hut that taught me defense. I was also tired of not being able to build up my mage guild and griffin building due to the lack of mercury, so I traded up some materials for it, since I had built everything else. After that, I came across another exit out of the underground that led to a place above, where I have not been yet. There were infernal horses and hellhounds from the Inferno unit weeks. Over 2,000 imps that guarded some artifact. that also helped me gain another level. And then there were even more imps. There were also lots of titans that were guarding a dragon set artifact. That is not a set in this version of the game, of course. Anyhow, there were 27 of them, which is a pretty decent number. Even though I had 9 archangels on me, I was not able to revive all lost paladins due to the received damage. Though with the amount that I am gaining each week, 3 paladins was not too many. Oh, and I also maxed out my town by finally building up the mage guild. And after that, I went back underground with Godric, where after attacking some pixies, I leveled up. Then there were some assassins, where I had to work around their poison ticks in order to not lose anyone, which I managed to do, winning without any losses. Then there were shadow witches, and an abandoned mine with more assassins. Moving on to the surface, I fought some grim raiders, after which I leveled up. Then I finally cleared out the archmages. And then the regular mages. Then some unicorns, after which I gained yet another level. And infernal horses. Around this time I had cleared out basically everything on the map. I checked the artifact merchant where I bought a weapon artifact for more damage. Since I went around in some sort of a circle, I went to visit my town with Godric. So then I waited for a bunch of weeks with the goal of having a big enough army to clear out the garrison that I saw earlier. While waiting, I also saw that enemy heroes that came through the portals were just standing there. Stuck. So I decided to give them a visit to see what's up. Yeah, of course. I also went after the random heroes running around like cockroaches. To my surprise, I was actually able to get a fight out of them. While doing so, I gained another level. At this point I also went out with Isabel to do the same thing. After that, I gave over most of the new units to Godric and went back to town with Isabel. And with these reinforcements I wanted to see how far I could get with the fight. And... oh, there weren't as many of them last time. So I tried to fight them a few times to see how far I could even get. Though I was dealing good amount of damage, there were just too many of them. After that I even waited a week to check by how much they would grow. And yeah. So after that, I wanted to see how far I could get with even more units. So I waited even longer. I also bought another hero to check the artifact merchants, where I hoped that maybe I could get a Tome of Dark Magic, as that would make this fight way easier with the help of, let's say, Blind or Frenzy, or Puppet Master. And then I got another hero to deliver more units to me. After receiving further reinforcements, I tried yet again to fight them. I began seeing real nice damage being dealt to the enemy stacks, but sadly this was not enough. And even though I did see a difference, I was pretty skeptical of whether I would be able to outgrow them. Just for fun, I waited an even longer time for even more units and bought any interesting artifacts that were sold by the merchant. Then I transferred everything to Godric and tried a few times again. So the damage does increase here by quite a bit, judging by the amount of enemies that I took out with each hit. However, the problem was that there was still the Archdevil and Pitlord stack that I could not just easily take care of. As I attack any one of their stacks, I get hit by the other ones, which cause me to lose a good amount of my power stack. Which isn't too good, as there are still more enemies to kill. If I had picked Dark Magic with Godric and leveled it up to expert level, I could have learned some spells like Frenzy, Blind, and Puppet Master, that I'm pretty sure were available in my town. After all, it was presented to me as a choice quite a few times during leveling. Anyhow, here are the results of the fight that I just took in the background. So then I just went for the garrison fight that was required for a quest. And yeah, I guess I was slightly over-prepared for this fight. So after going a little bit further, Godric just wanders off by himself and a cutscene appears, where Isabelle congratulates him for reaching his goal. She also said that it's now time to defend until Nikolai arrives. As I saw that another hero, Agriel again, appeared near the town with a decently sized army, I realized that I might need my units that Godric took with him as he left. So I loaded to a previous point in the game, where I gave over the units and the artifacts to my other hero that was next to Godric, and began returning to town with him. And yeah, Agriel was coming my way. Oh, and here is Nikolai with... I don't really think that is enough to beat Agriel. After their turn ended, another cutscene appeared. Isabelle expresses her happiness that Nikolai is finally here, and she anticipates meeting him. After this, the objective to defend the town was completed, and another one appeared, to reach Nikolai in time, while he was next to the enemy. Okay then. So, after ending the next turn, yet another cutscene appeared. This time it was another cinematic one. We see Nikolai fighting some horned demons, and then wiping them out with his necklace. Then Agriel approaches him as Nikolai proceeds to challenge him. He uses his necklace artifact again, however, Agriel seems to not be affected by it. After which, Agriel strikes Nikolai. Then we see Godric rushing towards Nikolai, who is still alive. However, he mentions that no method of healing him would work, as he was struck by something special. After which, Isabelle is also seen running towards him. As his last words, Nikolai wishes for Isabelle to be the ruler of the Griffin Empire. Godric becomes somewhat depressed when Isabelle proceeds to put him back in his place. After which, she swears revenge on all the demons, including Agriel. And after that, the mission ends. So there we go, the first campaign of Heroes 5 done, which also unlocked the next one. So even though I finished the last mission, it would be interesting to someday return to it and try and actually beat the army guarding the garrison, as well as to check out what happens if I approach Agriel with a strong army right before the end, but that's something for another video. But yeah, that's about it for this one, with the next one being the Inferno campaign. Thank you if you have made it this far, and I hope that you enjoyed.